Well, good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to the June 4, 2019 meeting of the Whitehall City Council for the purpose of considering such matters that may come before it. I'm going to ask everyone to please rise for a moment of silence and remain standing for the pledge. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Aug, please call the roll.
Rodriguez.
Present.
Elmore. Present. Coniston.
Here.
Cantor.
Present.
Peck.
Here.
Morrison.
Here.
Bailey.
Present.
President Graham.
Present. Everyone's present except for one.
Two.
Oh, two?
Yeah.
Or there two?
Yeah, there's two.
All right.
I followed the lead.
We're sandwiched.
All right. First on our next on our agenda, actually, is the approval of minutes for May 21, 2019, the agenda and regular meeting.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the May 21st minutes.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Coniston, a second by Mr. Cantor for approval of the May 21, 2019 minutes. Ms. Aug, please call the roll.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore.
Yes.
Coniston.
Yes.
Cantor.
Yes.
Peck.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes. The minutes have been approved. This is our first opportunity for poll public. If anyone would like to come forward, you'll have up to 3 minutes of council's time. I'm seeing no one, so we will move on to our standing committee reports, and we'll begin with the Administration and Financial Management.
Thank you, Mr. President. Administration and Financial Management did meet last Tuesday. Our minutes are on file. We'll meet again next Tuesday at about 6:31, right here in the back.
All righty, thank you, sir. Community and Elder Advocacy, Chairperson Elmore.
Thank you, Mr. President. Community and Elder Advocacy met last Tuesday. Our minutes are on file. We have no pending legislation today. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next we have Community Standards and Enforcement, Chairperson Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Community Standards and Enforcement met last week. Minutes are on file. Have every intention on meeting approximately 6:37 next Tuesday, right back here.
All right, thank you, sir. Next up we have Economic Development, Chairperson Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. President. Economic Development also met last Tuesday. Our minutes are on file, and we'll meet again next Tuesday, sometime after 6:30 in the back.
All right, thank you, sir. Next is Public Safety, Chairperson, or wait a minute. Infrastructure Maintenance and Services, Chairperson Heck.
Thank you, Mr. President. Infrastructure Maintenance and Services met last Tuesday. Our minutes are on file. We do have one piece of legislation, ordinance number 70, 2018. We'll meet sometime next week on Tuesday after 6:30.
All right, thank you. Now we have Public Safety, Chairperson Coniston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Safety met last week. Our minutes are on file, and we'll meet next week on Tuesday, probably around 6:40.
All right. That brings us to Parks and Recreation, Chairperson Cantor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Parks and Recreation also met last week. Our minutes are on file. We'll meet in the back next week at approximately 6:44 p.m.
All right, thank you, sir. Those are all of our standing committee reports. That brings us to our officials' reports. This evening we'll begin with our city attorney, Mr. Michael Bivens.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. For the month of May, Whitehall Mayor's Court prosecuted 262 cases. Out of that 262 cases, only 29 of those were of Whitehall residents. That's 10%. I do have a year-to-date number. Year-to-date Mayor's Court cases have been 1,428 cases. That being said, there were only 143 of those were of Whitehall residents, which is also about a 10 to 11%. When you expand that number to all cases prosecuted in the city of Whitehall through our prosecutor's office and Mayor's Court, we've year to date prosecuted about 1,846 cases. Out of that 1,846, about 243 of those are Whitehall residents. So we're trending, between 10 to 12% of all cases that are being, criminal cases that are being committed in the city of Whitehall are by Whitehall residents, which isn't, a bad number to look at when you look at it, from the aggregate. That being said, that's the official report from the city attorney's office. I would like to thank Councilmember Coniston for coming out to the Legal Rams event. That was a great event that just occurred a few weeks ago for their final exam. And then just publicly to everyone on Facebook, I want to congratulate the class of 2019. I'm a little biased. I have a son that graduated in that class and will officially become an empty nester once we send him away to college. So it's a happy time, sad time, commencement time. But I just like to congratulate everybody in the city of Whitehall that came out to root on our Rams.
All right, thank you, sir. Next up, we have our city auditor, Mr. Dan Miller.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no official report other than what you have in front of you. I would like to ask for favorable considerations on ordinances 71, 72, and resolution 29.
All right, thank you, sir. Next, we have our Director of Development and Public Service, Mr. Zach Woodman.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are midway, a little over midway through our approximately $3 million worth of infrastructure improvements this year. In a couple weeks, we'll begin resurfacing on the first portion of Fairway from Hamilton Road to about the 250 block of Fairway. We're also going to be repaving Lambie Lane from Main Street to just north of Anthony Court North. That'll also include some spot curb and gutter, but we'll also include the addition of a new storm drop at the corner of St. Mary's and Lambie. The water tends to pond there, so we'll be putting in a storm drop there that should alleviate some of that ponding. Yearling Road is on schedule, if not a little ahead of schedule. It's coming along nicely. We did get an updated schedule from our contractor for the Etna Road Bernhard intersection storm work. It looks like they are actually going to perform that work the first part of August and have it completed before the school year begins, but that won't occur until August. Finally, Broad Street, we've completed the curb and gutter and sidewalk replacement on the north side of Broad between Yearling and Robinwood. We're now turning around on the south side and coming back towards Yearling. That should be completed by the end of this month. And then lastly, today is one of our service workers, Miles Kaufman, in our street department. Is his last day. Miles was recently able to fulfill a dream of his and become a Columbus firefighter. So he will begin the fire academy here at the end of this month. And so I just wanted to publicly thank him for his years of service and the work that he has performed for us. So with that, that's all I have, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, sir. Next, we have our treasurer, Mr. Steve Quinzel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no official report this evening.
All righty, well, thank you, sir. We have the following officials' reports have been filed in the council office since our last meeting. We have the Treasurer's Investment Report for April 2019, the Treasurer's Activity by Fund Report for April 2019, the Treasurer's Fund Reconciliation Report for April 2019. We've also received several reports from the auditor. We have the Auditor's Expense Report for April 2019, the Auditor's Bank Report for April 2019, along with the Auditor's Statement of Cash Position Report for April 2019, and ending with the Auditor's Revenue Report for April 2019. Under Communications, Petitions, and Claims, we do have minutes from the May 2nd, 2019 Planning Commission meeting. Those are all the communications, petitions, and claims we have this evening. So we will move on to our next item on the agenda, which is a public hearing. It is for Ordinance 72, 2019, which is providing for the repeal of an amendment to Section 2 of Ordinance Number 059-2019, relating to the issuance and sale of bonds authorized in that ordinance and declaring an emergency. So I'll open that public hearing at this time. If anyone would like to come forward to speak in favor of ordinance 72, 2019, now would be your opportunity. One more time, I will ask if anyone would like to come forward and speak in favor of ordinance 72, 2019. Please come forward. Seeing no one, I will ask at this time if there is anyone who would like to speak in opposition of ordinance 72, 2019. Please come forward. I will ask one more time if there is anyone present who would like to speak in opposition to ordinance 72, 2019. Please come forward. Seeing no one, at this time, having no speakers for or in pro or con for ordinance 72, 2019, I will close the public hearing on ordinance 72, 2019. We will move on to our next item, which is the verification of copies. I'm going to ask Ms. Aug to please call the roll on whether each member of council was given a copy of each item of legislation listed on the agenda prior to the meeting, and including any add-on legislation.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Elmore?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Cantor?
Yes.
Heck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
All right, we will move on with our items of legislation at this point. Under third reading, we have no legislation under third reading this evening. That brings us to our second reading items. We begin with ordinance 63, 2019. It's amending the zoning map attached to chapter 1122 of the 1970 codified ordinances of the city of Whitehall, Ohio, and has subsequently amended, allowing a special permit under 1123.10 C1 to allow Captain D's LLC to operate a drive-in window and drive-through facilities on the property located at 3646 East Main Street, property owned by Whitehall Retail Ventures Limited. That's being read by title only. We will also be having a public hearing on this ordinance on June 18, 2019. Our next item is ordinance 64, 2019. It's amending the zoning map attached to chapter 1122 of the 1970 codified ordinances of the city of Whitehall, Ohio, and as subsequently amended, changing the zoning on property located on Robinwood Avenue, parcel number 090-000-446, 090-000-645, 090-005-472, 090-002-169, 090-002-178, from office district to residential to planned apartment district, property owned by Saggy Realty. That's being read by title only. It is also scheduled for a public hearing on June 18, 2019. Our next item is ordinance 65, 2019. It's amending the zoning map attached to chapter 1122 of the 1970 codified ordinances of the city of Whitehall, Ohio, and as subsequently amended, allowing a special permit under 1123.10 C1 to allow Robert Weiler Company to operate a drive-in window and drive-through facilities on the property located at 3861 East Broad Street, parcel number 090-008384, property owned by Saggy Realty Limited. That's being read by title only. It is also scheduled for a public hearing on June 18, 2019. It's the last item of legislation we have under second reading. Under first readings, we start with ordinance 69, 2019. It's to authorize an amendment to the Air South Tax Increment Financing Agreement and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 69, 2019, and ask for suspension of all the rules.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Morrison, a second by Mr. Bailey for introduction and suspension of all rules on ordinance 69, 2019. Questions or comments? Ms. Aug, please call the roll.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Elmore?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Cantor?
Yes.
Peck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on ordinance 69, 2019.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Bailey for adoption of ordinance 69, 2019. Ms. Aug, please call the roll.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Elmore?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Cantor?
Yes.
Peck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Ordinance 69, 2019 has been adopted. Next, we have ordinance 70, 2019, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with AEP to approve an easement and right-of-way for 402 North Hamilton Road, Whitehall, Ohio, 43213, and be declared an emergency.
Mr.
Mr. President, may I ask the service director a question on this? Is it too early, or should we wait?
Well, I'm going to ask for questions or comments in just a
Oh,
second.
okay. Never mind.
Mr. President, I would like to introduce ordinance number 70, 2019, and move for the suspension of all rules.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Heck and a second by Mr. Cantor for introduction and suspension of all rules on ordinance 70, 2019. Questions or comments?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Woodruff,
Yes.
question on this easement. To my understanding, this is to be underground trenching and no overhead power lines added to that area?
I believe that is correct, although this was all handled by the Parks Department. I didn't have any role in that.
Okay, well, my specific issue would be if they was attempting to put any of those metal poles up there, we would not want that.
No, my understanding is that this is all underground. It'll riser down from a new pole that will be placed.
Okay,
That's my understanding. I don't think we're getting any metal poles.
no issue if that's the case.
That being said, I have not, I don't know that I've seen this piece of legislation. Is the location of the easement in the legislation?
Yes.
Says 402 North Hamilton.
Well, right, but is it,
Well,
No,
There's
but
a
is it
map.
more specific than that?
correct?
Is that what you're
Does it
asking?
actually,
You got it, Bob? You want
Everybody's got
it? I know, but I saw you reaching first.
Well, there's a copy right there.
Yes.
Zach,
Oh.
are you looking for like a map? Like,
yes, that's right.
There's another one too in that email.
That's 72,
Yeah.
or 70, I'm sorry.
70?
Yeah, it's 70.
I just have to put-
So the legislation doesn't have an actual exhibit attached? The only reason I mention it is the exact location of the trench may be adjusted on site further south than originally anticipated. But I don't see that there's any problem with the legislation as is. It's not specific to a location. It just
Right.
grants an easement.
It just grants an easement for the actual location, but not a specific.
Right, it doesn't say 32 feet off the. Right.
Exactly.
I don't have any issue with that.
What other questions or comments?
That's all I have, Mr. President.
All right, Ms. Aug, please call the roll.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Elmore?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Cantor?
Yes.
Peck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on ordinance 70, 2019.
Mr. President, I move to adopt.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Heck and a second by Mr. Cantor for adoption of ordinance 70, 2019. Ms. Aug, please call the roll.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Elmore?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Cantor?
Yes.
Peck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Ordinance 70, 2019 has been adopted. Our next ordinance is 71, 2019. It's approving and making a supplemental appropriation of $40,000 from unappropriated monies in the capital improvement / project fund to the capital improvements account and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 71, 2019 with suspension of all rules.
Second.
The motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Rodriguez for introduction and suspension of all rules on ordinance 71, 2019. Questions or comments? Ms. Aug, please call the roll.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Elmore?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Cantor?
Yes.
Peck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on ordinance 71, 2019.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bailey, second by Mr. Rodriguez for adoption of ordinance 71, 2019. Ms. Aug, please call the roll.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Elmore?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Cantor?
Yes.
Peck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Ordinance 71, 2019 has been adopted. Our next ordinance, 72, 2019, providing for the repeal of and amendment to Section 2 of Ordinance 59, 2019, relating to the issuance and sale of bonds authorized in that ordinance and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 72-2019 and move for the suspension of the rules, please.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Cantor and a second by Ms. Elmore for introduction and suspension of all rules on ordinance 72, 2019. Questions or comments? Ms. Aug, please call the roll.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Elmore?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Cantor?
Yes.
Peck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on ordinance 72, 2019.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to adopt, please.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cantor, second by Ms. Elmore for adoption of ordinance 72, 2019. Ms. Aug, please call the roll.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Elmore?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Cantor?
Yes.
Peck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Ordinance 72, 2019 has been adopted. Next, that's the last ordinance we have for the evening. We begin now with some resolutions, starting with Resolution 26, 2019. It's adopting the tax budget for the City of Whitehall, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2020, and submitting same to the county auditor and declaring an emergency. That resolution is being read by title only. Next, we have Resolution 27, 2019. It's authorizing the mayor to accept title to parcel number 090-000-526-09, okay, 200 through 206, Woodcliff Drive from the Whitehall Community Improvement Corporation located within the City of Whitehall and pay all fees associated with the transfer of property. That's being read by title only. Next, we have Resolution 28, 2019. It's authorizing the mayor to accept title to parcel numbers 090-002509 and 090-002510, 257 South Gerling Road from the Whitehall Community Improvement Corporation located within the City of Whitehall and pay all fees associated with the transfer of property. That resolution is being read by title only. Our next item is Resolution 29, 2019. It's authorizing the mayor to apply for and accept a 2019 Nature Works grant through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce Resolution 29-2019, suspension of the rules, please.
Second?
We have a motion by Mr. Tanner and a second by Ms. Coniston for introduction and suspension of all rules on Resolution 29, 2019. Questions or comments? Ms. Aug, please call the roll.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Elmore?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Cantor?
Yes.
Peck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on Resolution 29, 2019.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to adopt, please.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Cantor, second by Ms. Coniston for adoption of Resolution 29, 2019. Ms. Aug, please call the roll.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Elmore?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Cantor?
Yes.
Peck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Resolution 29, 2019 has been approved. That's our last item of legislation this evening. That brings us to our second opportunity for poll public. If anyone would like to come forward, you will have up to 3 minutes. Seeing no one, we will move on to Community Date Board.
Oh, I'm willing to take this.
Are you
You
on?
want to start?
Yeah, well, go ahead, start.
Okay. June 22nd will be a cruise-in. The WCCA is having a cruise-in over at the VFW. So please bring your cars on out. 10 to noon is registration. And then we'll have a nice little award show at 3 o'clock over at the VFW on June 22nd. That's a Saturday. And we, right now, WCCA is having sign-ups for the baby pageant, 0 to 3 years old. Can't be 4 on the day. And then also there's a new ambassador program, which is the former pageants, and boys and girls are now able to come out. So all children, sign-ups will be every Saturday until the 22nd over at the amphitheater from 10 to noon.
Okay. Who else has something?
June 12th, there's Field of Magic Park Party at Norton Field from 5:30 to 7:30. And the music in the park started last Sunday and will continue every Sunday through.
We also have a Parks and Recreation meeting the same night at the same location in Norton Field. It begins at 6 o'clock.
Employment for Seniors is having another hiring event on June the 5th, and it's from 9:30 to 11:30.
So tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
All right.
Who else has something?
Father's Day, June 19th, is that right? June 16th, excuse me.
It
June
is.
16th.
It's coming up.
a joke. Can't say it.
Well, you mothers out there, take care of your fathers.
And if you want to be in the 4th of July parade, WCCA13@gmail.com.
Anything else for Community Date Board this evening? All right, we'll move on to poll council. We'll begin with Mr. Rodriguez.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I just have one thing to say this evening. Julie, hi. Since you've joined us, I just want to say that you've done a wonderful job. It's been a really, really great fit. It's wonderful having you here. Thank you. That's all, Mr. President.
All right, Ms. Elmore.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for everybody that's viewing the Whitehall City Council meeting. I don't have anything other than have a great beginning of summer. Be careful, watch the kids, watch out for, everybody as your neighbors, and have a great summer.
All right, thank you. Ms. Coniston.
For those of you keeping track, Nana times 2. I have both grandbabies now. Shameless plug, you can go to my Facebook page and see the cuteness overload. Thank you all.
Shameless pug, did you say that?
That's his
Just
name.
plug, that's the baby
Shameless
name.
name.
That's fine.
That's both their names.
All the pug dogs out.
All the pug dogs. Plug.
Oh, plug! I thought you were making fun of pug dogs.
Oh, no, they're the cutest
Take
things
that
ever.
pug dog back and get a pair of pants. All right, Mr. Cantor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, everybody watching, including my 2 little girls. Hi, girls. I just wanted to say thank you, a shout out to Ray Cunningham and Mike Mason from our first responders next door to us. Thank you guys very much. That's all I got.
All right, Ms. Hedge.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for everybody viewing at home. I forgot to bring it up during Community Date Board, but the Parks and Recs sports camp has started. You can still sign up. Through the whole month of June, they're doing sports, and in July, they're doing some STEM and other activities, and it is a really great way for the high schoolers to interact with the younger generation, the younger children. That is all.
What's the age group then?
Age group is kindergarten to going into 8th. And then the STEM is older. I think it's ages 8 and up, I believe.
All right, Mr. Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would like to thank everyone who is watching and everyone in the audience. Hope you enjoyed yourself today, and have a good week.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Bailey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no comments tonight
All
Not
right.
even move to adjourn?
when he's done speaking.
Yeah, I get my shot. I get to say
Right,
something.
Cut him off.
I want to thank everyone for being here tonight, and thanks to everyone tuning in with us on Facebook. We had no other business before us, so official business anyway. I think it's a motion for adjournment would certainly be in order.
Mr. President,
Second?
move to adjourn.
I have a motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Rodriguez for adjournment. Ms. Aug, please call the roll.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Elmore?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
Cantor?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
No. There you go.
By a score of 6-1, in favor of adjournment, we are adjourned until our next meeting.
So Bob has to stay.
Ms. Aug?